I love Seattle.
So these two gentlemen I have here with me obviously don't need an introduction. Can we have a round of applause for them? So, Justin's son, he has created multiple companies at a very young age. He's going to be 28 years old this year, and he's been nominated and has gotten the Forbes 30 Under 30 prize for consecutive years in a row. He's a protege of Jack Ma. And then we have Kobe Bryant, who obviously is a legend, and he has enjoyed a very successful 20-year career with the NBA and 5 championships with the LA Lakers. He's won a 2018 Oscars for Best Short Film Theater Basketball. Very successful gentleman here with me today. So my first question for both of you is, what drives your success? What motivates you in the morning and just makes you want to get up and face the world every single day? Let's start with you, Kobe.
Well, I mean, for me, it's always the love of what I do. Basketball, for example, there's no place I'd rather be than to be watching the game, playing the game, training for the game. There's nothing else I'd rather be doing, and that's true now as well. For what I'm doing in the studio that I'm building, and the investment industry. I mean, you wake up in the morning and you go, and so for me, it's always the love for what it is that I'm doing.
What about you, Justin?
Yeah, I think I'm same with the Kobe. So when I first start my own business in Philadelphia, it's also the same city with Kobe come from. I know the entrepreneurship is my life. So I devoted myself fully into the business 24 hours a day. So my nickname is more like Justin Never Sleep, right? So into the business, and here we are. After a year, we have become one of the largest blockchain platform. So I think basically it's my love for my career and the business.
Yes, speaking of motivation and perseverance, Kobe, we all know that you have the nickname the Black Mamba, right? And you also come with the Mamba mentality. So for the Mamba mentality, I think the unofficial tagline is don't quit, don't cower, don't run. And some people even say, if Kobe Bryant gets into a fight with a bear, you better pray for that bear.
Absolutely.
So how has the Mamba mentality helped you through your transition, reinventing yourself from being an NBA legend, an NBA superstar, into the investor and entrepreneur that you are today?
Well, it's the same approach. Playing the game of basketball, you're looking at all the little details. You're studying everything. You're constantly training and you're constantly learning. And you're constantly solving puzzles. Some are big puzzles, some are small puzzles, but you're constantly problem solving. And I just took that and transitioned it into what I'm doing now. Same approach, same attention to detail, same kind of relentless pursuit for doing things to the best of your ability all the time, no compromise with that. And that's how I've been able to evolve. Even though I'm not playing the game of basketball anymore, the game is still with me because I'm carrying with me all the lessons that I've learned in 20 years of playing in the NBA and 35 plus years of playing in total. So.
And what do you think was the biggest challenge that you faced during your career at the NBA and transitioning your career to an investor and an entrepreneur?
Well, it's having the courage to move on and do something else. It's very hard. When you've been playing basketball or you're building a company and you're extremely successful at it, the hardest part is to say, okay, now I'm going to shelf that and move on to something new and start from the beginning. Right? You've been working so hard, you get to the top of this mountain, and now you're looking across at another mountain that you got to start at the bottom of. It's very, very difficult, and you have to be brave. I didn't know if it would work. I wrote Dear Basketball and had the idea of producing it. I didn't know if it would work. It was one of those things where people may not like this thing at all, but at the end of the day, does that matter? You know, what are you doing things for? You got to do things to be true to yourself, find things that you truly love to do, and let everything else speak for itself.
So where do you find that bravery? I know oftentimes the most difficult thing is to make that very first step.
Yeah.
So how did you find that bravery for you to take that first step?
Well, for pure basketball, it was as simple as I had written it and announced my retirement, and I was thinking about making it into a short animated film. I wasn't sure, and then and Gianna was one of our daughters. She's the middle one. You know, they all knew I was making it in a film, but she was sitting next to me while we were watching the Oscars, and the category for short animated film came up, and she goes, "Hey, Dad, we're going to be up there next year." And I was like, "Huh?" So I never said I was going to write it. She said, "Well, come on, you always talk about Mamba mentality and like doing it, do it." I'm like, "How old are you?" "How old are you?" So all right, I guess I'm doing it. I guess I'm doing it. You got to lead by example. So for me, it came from, you know, leading by example with my children that gave me kind of that final push to go ahead and do it.
Absolutely. I think that's very inspiring. And I know that, Justin, you have very similar values. We all know that you're such a hard worker, that you never sleep. And you're also backed by an amazing team who shares the same values as you do, who's working so hard every single day. And I know that you started your company in a basement, and that was one of the most difficult times of your life. Could you tell us more about your journey and how you made Tron such a success?
Yeah, sure. So basically, when I first started my own business in 2012, so it's like in Philadelphia. At that time, I was just like students. So at that time, I always want to run like a very successful company. Hope one day my company will have like a positive impact on the society and also on the social good. I think it's just like when Jack Ma started his business in back to like 1999. At that time, they are also like in a very small room with like only 18 people there. And Jack Ma told their objects is to become like the top 10 website in the world. At that time, it's like impossible for the team, right? But I think it's just like the Mamba mentality. So even if the idea or the objects sounds like crazy, but you're gonna figure out how to achieve that, right? It's just like when the Tron team first founded, we said we want to surpass the Ethereum to become one of the greatest blockchain platform. It's also a tremendous challenge for the whole team. But we're gonna figure out how to be there step by step with like lots of the efforts, right? So that's why I think it also depends on the people. So we don't know, actually when I set up those goals, I don't know who to achieve those goals. But when we be there, we know, right?
Absolutely. So in your journey, let's hear it for him. So in your journey, Justin, what was the biggest challenge that you faced and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenge we face is in 2017 when the team is newly founded. We face some like policy change in China. So at that time, we need to move to United States to continue our business. And at that time, we don't even have like one hiring in the United States. We need to restart to build up the team, to get everybody positive, because at that time, it's like kind of like the bear market right now. So some people lose the confidence, they don't have the guts to take on. So at that time, we need to get a new team, get everybody get on board, and then moving forward. I think that is the like the toughest time in the Tron history. But I'm lucky. Finally, we made it, and here we are.
Absolutely. So backstage, I know that we're talking about how important a team is and team building. So Kobe, what do you think is the most important thing about building a team? What kind of people do you think are crucial for success?
Well, you know, it's the hardest thing to get, like as Justin was just saying, the hardest thing is to get a collection of people to move in the same direction. Because everybody has different roles and responsibilities, everybody has different personal goals that they want to achieve. And it's all in the best interest of furthering the company. But along the lines of doing that, you can create personal dissension because your perspective of doing something that you believe is right for the company may indirectly offend somebody else, right? And so I think the biggest thing within a company structure is having respect for each other and understanding that things are not personal. You're just trying to get the company to be successful and move in the same direction, but I think it's being mindful and having empathy and compassion for the people that you're working with or playing with. Because that's the only way to truly win a championship or to build a successful company, is to have a collection of people that find themselves in rhythm and in sync with each other.
So Justin, you embarked on your journey of being an entrepreneur not long ago, and it's just a little over a year. So I'm sure you learned so much from when you first began by yourself trying to build Twitter followers in the basement to now having a multi-billion company. So what did you learn about the importance of teams? Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I think the teamwork is everything. Because like Kobe can score like 81 score in basketball match, so basically Kobe is on him is fine, right? But I'm not Kobe, so I only got like 24 hours a day. So
No, he did a lot a year, man.
so basically for me, I need to count out my team, right? So that's one of the lessons also I learned at the beginning of the entrepreneurship. At first, I just want to do everything on my own, right? And then I'm not comfortable to give the mission to others because I afraid them gonna screw up. So that's I need to do this transition from like to give like everything to my team and trust them they're gonna do the best job in the industry. And then here we are, we have like 200 people in China, 150 people here, and we're gonna spend even more. So basically also, Jack Ma also told me the most difficult time for him is to transition from only like 18 people there, but right now Alibaba is with like 30K people, right? 30,000 people there. So basically this kind of the team, how you build a team, manage a team, and get everybody on track is the most challenging things, but I think if you ever resolve this question, your company can be the best in the industry.
See, that's a really good point though, because it is really hard to have that trust in others, right? And I certainly dealt with it in my career. They're saying, okay, well, you know, teammates here, is he gonna make that shot to win the game when there's 2 minutes left? Or I can hit this shot here, right? And a lot of times people assume, okay, well, the way you make teammates better is just simply throwing them the ball and giving them opportunities. But that's only half of it. And you have to figure out how to influence them in ways where they on their own will get to practice an hour early. On their own, they will stay an hour late. And it's our responsibility as leaders to pull that out of them where they want to be the best version of themselves because they want it, not because we want them to have it. And as leaders, it's our responsibility to try to get our teammates in that place. And then when they get in that place, it's a lot easier for us to trust them. Right? Like, okay, no, absolutely. Give them that opportunity because they're working hard for it. Sometimes they'll make it, sometimes they won't. But you know that they have the determination and the desire to be the best version of themselves. And that is the absolute key.
As you said, it's all about investing in people.
Absolutely.
So, Justin, right now we're really pushing the revolution from Internet 3.0 to 4.0. And obviously, everybody here is a blockchain enthusiast, or at least you want to learn more about blockchain. So for those people, but a lot of people still don't know what blockchain is. How does it help? Why is it important? You obviously have been in the industry for 6+ years. Could you tell us in very layman terms, what is blockchain? Why does it help? And how are you pushing the revolution from 3.0 to 4.0?
So basically, from my understanding, I think the blockchain we are doing right now is more like a trustless operating system. So it's just simple as iOS, Android, but with these trustless features. So like, you don't need to trust me, you don't need to trust Tron, you just trust the math, smart contracts, trust the technology. It actually works in lots of the dApps. So basically, that's also one of our goals, is make the blockchain available for everybody. So you don't need to know the technology, you can directly get on and use it. Just like when I first introduced like iPhone to my grandma, right? So he can easily to get on the iPhone and then think the iPhone is benefit for her. So that's why I also want the blockchain technology in the future can be a very easy adopted technology. That's also we launched the BTT, trying to airdrop the crypto to most of the common users. We have like 100 million users around the world. They can easier to get into the industry. So that's also one thing I think the whole industry need to solve this problem, to make the blockchain, the crypto available for everybody in the world.
Absolutely. So, Kobe, you have undergone a very big career shift. You were an athlete, an NBA legend, and now you are a businessman, an investor. So, what advice would you give to all of the entrepreneurs and people aspiring to be even more than they are now? And what do you think is the most important thing for them to remember?
I think if you find yourself getting up in the morning and having to constantly motivate yourself to get up and do what you're doing, you're building the wrong business. Do something else. You know, I think that's the most important part. Like you gotta have a passion for what it is that you're doing. You know, you can't get up and say, okay, what's the biggest industry I can get in? What's the biggest opportunity available? Let me go do that. That's not gonna work. Right? You gotta be able to have the passion and the love for it, because when you have that, you'll problem solve things. You'll be able to figure things out on the fly, because this is just what you love to do. That's the most important thing when you're building anything. So, you know, if you don't have that, you know, then I don't think you'll go very far. And for me, it was certainly true. Whether building a studio, being an investor, I love what I'm doing. So.
So how did you know? How did you know that at first basketball was right for you? How did you know that you wanted to get into investment and building businesses and supporting startups?
Yeah,
what felt right?
It was twofold. So one, it's about seeing people reach their full potential. So as a basketball player, I really hit my growth when the game became less about how am I going to carry this team to a victory. It became more about how can I help Lamar reach his full potential, Derek Fisher, Shannon Brown, Josh Powell, Paul Gasol. And I got a lot of enjoyment out of seeing them get better. And for investing, that's what it is to me. How can you help entrepreneurs reach that goal, reach that dream? How can you see them celebrate? How can you see them serve the world the best way that they possibly can? I enjoy that aspect of it. And then from the business side of it, I've seen too many athletes make really bad financial decisions and have these really horrible stories post-NBA career. And so that was also a passion of mine, of being able to show, okay, listen, we can make smart decisions. You can figure out what your value is post-NBA. And that became another calling card for me and why I chose to get into investing. And then just had to hope that my people meter was pretty good. Because that's what I look at. When you're looking at investing, you gotta invest in people first and foremost.
Yes. So for Justin, you have created a company that has employees all over the world. Beijing, San Francisco, Tokyo, Seoul. How were you able to bridge the cultural differences? And what do you think was the biggest challenge in terms of integrating different cultures? And I know that you also acquired BitTorrent in July of last year. How were you able to navigate also the cultures between different companies in the US?
Yeah, so basically, I think even like the employees come from like different cultural background, even different languages, and also different companies, but we share like the same value, so decentralized web. So basically, like we all have this belief in decentralization. We all have this belief in the blockchain and the crypto technology. I think that's the first thing we can have everybody on board is the belief. So basically that's why I think Tron is not like other companies. Most of them is driven by the profits, driven by the business opportunities. I think Tron is driven by the idea, driven by the belief. And also we are doing this not only we can make money for this is also very important, but also because we think this is right. We need a decentralized internet. We need to give the privacy and the rights back to the people, back to the users, so they can get benefits from the internet. Not the companies can get benefit from them. So that's why I think the idea and the knowledge behind all this help our team to be together. So I think this is also, we share the same value with the BitTorrent as well. So even before Tron acquired BitTorrent in 2017, BitTorrent has been a pioneer for decentralization for such a long time, since 2003. And then they promote this kind of the idea to the people all around the world with almost 1 billion devices in the world. So that's why I think if like Tron, BitTorrent is a marriage, is a perfect marriage. Yeah.
Do those even exist? So Kobe, I know that you've also been investing in tech. And what are your thoughts on what Justin has said, and why did you decide to get into this space?
Well, for me, it's making smart investments. I mean, I don't know of any company out there right now that's not considered a technology company. Everybody seems to be in tech in one way or another. But like I said, the first thing that you start with, or that I start with, is the people. And then secondly, is this a business that you can get your head around? Is it a business that you understand, an industry that you understand? And this is something that we can potentially add value to in one way or the other, whether it's advice, whether it's business counsel, creative counsel, wherever it may be. Can you provide some type of services to further the business along and help them grow and be successful? But ultimately, you have to look at the people, right? So whether it's tech or consumer goods, it doesn't matter. It starts with the entrepreneur first. And do you believe the entrepreneur has the ability through tough times? Because the best laid plans, never really go out the way that they should, or that the way you plan them to be. Right? There's always audibles, there's always changes. And can the entrepreneur adjust to that? And not only can he himself or her herself, not only can they adjust to it, but can they rally a group of people to then move in that direction? And if the answer to those questions are yes, it's a simple investment for me.
So I know that you have spent some part of your childhood in Italy. You've also lived in Philadelphia, and now Los Angeles. So what have you learned from going between different cultures like that, and how has that informed you as a person and in your career?
Great question. The funny thing is, like when I first moved to Italy, I obviously didn't speak one word of Italian, right? And I go to the park because I want to shoot hoops, and there's kids out there just playing soccer on top of a basketball court. Like the world is completely upside down to me right now. Like you have a beautiful full court basketball court and you're playing soccer on top of it with 2 shirts as a goalpost. I'm like, what is happening right now? But what I also came to understand is that there are universal languages. And for me in that case, it was sport. whether it be soccer or basketball or whatever the case may be. That's a language that's a universal language, and that tends to connect people. And it helped me make friends, it helped me understand their culture better, helped them understand my culture better. Same as what Justin just said. When you have a commonality, you tend to rally around that. So even though I grew up in Italy and spent some time in Philadelphia and kind of bounced around, I was able to find that one connection that was able to bridge the cultural gap and the differences between us.
For you, it was sports, and for Justin, it is a dream, it is a vision to decentralize the web through blockchain technology. So obviously, blockchain is a huge trend in Silicon Valley. What is the most, the thing that you are most excited about in terms of technological trends in Silicon Valley or in the world?
Well, it's a big question. Well, I think like Justin said, it's having a mission that goes beyond the technology itself. Right? He has a firm belief in what he is doing is right for the future of mankind. Right? And having that big mission to me is extremely important. It's not just about the bottom line, although it's very important. As an investor, I'd be lying if I said that wasn't important. But having a bigger goal in mind is the most important thing. And today we live in a society where, you know, all of our personal data, our personal space seems to be monitored and seems to be watched, and seems to be, the more and more we seem to have control of our own personal lives, the more and more we're actually giving up. And for me, it's going to be interesting to sit back and watch and see how technology navigates us through that for the next 40, 50, 60 years.
I think that's absolutely true, that no matter what we're doing, we need to think about the bigger picture and how this will benefit society or make somebody's life better on a smaller scale.
Well, I think we have to. I mean, I think we all have a responsibility to serve one another. I think that's where, you know, the world becomes truly a better place. Right? It was true for Justin when he started his company, and kind of giving up the control and letting the team trust the team in that process, and the same for me, giving up the ball to my teammates and trusting them with those shots. It's like it's about serving others. How can you help others be the best version of themselves? And if we can find a way to do that, if we can all do that, then you know, it's I think we'll be in a much better place years from now.
Yes. So Justin, how do you think? So Justin, how do you think blockchain technology can make the world a better place?
Yeah, definitely. I think first of all, blockchain offers us like an equal choice compared to the traditional financial system, highly controlled by the central node, highly controlled by the central agency. Blockchain provides everybody like an equal place you can play, and you don't need to trust like the central government, central agency anymore. You can just trust on mass, trust on the technology itself. And also because it gives the secret key to everybody, so you can control your own data, privacy, like everything you can control on your hands. I think that's one of the biggest idea behind the blockchain. So that's why I think not only the blockchain will benefit the society itself, it's also provide the society with like a new order. So everybody can follow this new order to become their own master. So that's why I think blockchain is a revolution idea rather than a technology. Sometimes people compare like AI and blockchain and also with other technology like AR, VR technology. But I think the AI, VR is more like a technology progress. But for blockchain, I think it's more like a revolution. So that's why I always believe blockchain has lots of the potential. Once people accept the idea, once people get into the blockchain, they will think this is a brand new world, not only just like a technology.
Absolutely. So, time is almost up. We have such a great crowd here. So, Kobe, what do you have, if you wanted people to walk away with one thing today, what do you want them to walk away with?
Well, I mean, again, I think is, every day that you get up, are you doing what you truly love? I asked my kids this. I said, listen, if you had one thing that you could do every single day for the next 20 years, what would that one thing be? What do you love right now that much? And it may change because they're so young, it may change. But when we wake up in the morning, are we doing what we truly love to do? We have one life, right? And the life goes by ridiculously fast. He's 28. I don't remember being 28. You know what I mean? Like I have videos that tell me, yeah, you were 28 once. But I don't remember that, right? So life goes by extremely, extremely quickly. And it's important that every single day we're doing something that we truly love to do because we do not have time to spare. I think that's the most important thing.
It's very inspiring, and sometimes when we get into the thick of things, we sometimes forget what we truly love, and we always need to keep that in perspective. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kobe Bryant, and thank you, Justin Sun, for your time.
Thank you.